Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm very happy to have you guys here. So as you can see, today I want to share my thoughts on a fragrance from Paris Corner that is supposed to be an inspiration of Grand Soir from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. I have a 5 ml decant. The fragrance is called Amber Grand and I received this decant from Dupe collection. So thank you so much to the people from Dupe collection for sending me this decant, as well as a lot of other decants from Paris Corner. So yeah, I want to let you know how this fragrance smells like, how it develops, how it performs, if it's overall more feminine leaning, more masculine leaning, and at the end I want to compare it with a fragrance from Lattafa called Eternal Oud, that this one is also supposed to be an inspiration of Grand Soir from MFK. And I want to let you know which one I would overall recommend to you and why. Now let's start with this one from Paris Corner. Okay, so as always, here are the notes on the screen for this fragrance. Yeah, right from the start, this is much smoother, much more refined, much more elegant, much more, how to say, like round around the edges in a sense. I feel like Eternal Oud is a bit more sharp. It's a bit more rough around the edges in a sense, whereas this one has this like almost like buttery smoothness to it that will stay all throughout the development of the fragrance. Now in the opening, this smells like try to imagine a beautiful old school amber accord. So it's sweet, it's dense, it's warm, it's rich, slightly powdery as well, but it doesn't have the like solar quality of the amber accord in Eternal Oud. I feel like this one is a bit more subdued, it's a bit more tamed, it's a bit more muted in a sense, but it is rich overall. Like on its own, it's still rich. It doesn't have that like warmth that the one from Eternal Oud has. So basically you have this amber accord here, like I've mentioned. It's sweet, but it's not sweet in a gourmand way. The sweetness that this fragrance has is not a gourmand sweetness, so don't expect a gourmand fragrance from this one because you will be disappointed. I feel like the sweetness comes from, it's like the natural sweetness that certain resins have in fragrances, that certain balsamic accords have in fragrances, is that type of sweetness, you know. You have this mixed with the smell of, like, do you know those small lavender bags, the ones that you can use to like scent your closet, to like, honestly I don't know what you can use them for besides that, but if you know that smell, I will insert a photo with the lavender bags that I'm talking about here, then you can pretty much imagine how this fragrance smells like. You have legit that same lavender bag type of smell here with the amber accord, and basically this is how it smells in the opening pretty much to me. Now I feel like lavender in fragrances can go in two different directions. Personally, I am not the biggest fan of lavender myself. I find it more of a masculine note, honestly. I prefer it to smell it on men, but I can't say that I like it so much in women's fragrances, or that I don't like it on me, honestly. But if it's in really like high doses, if it's in like small doses, let's just say behind, you know, to give just like a slight different facet to the fragrance, then I don't mind it. But what I have noticed, lavender in fragrances can go in two different ways. You have the lavender that in certain fragrances, it can give this like shower gel facet to the fragrance, you know, and then you have the lavender that in certain fragrances can give this like aromatic facet to the fragrance, like legit, like you are smelling a lavender, like a pouch or like a small bag filled with lavender, you know, like these types of things here. In this fragrance from Paris Corner, the lavender is from the second category, which I appreciate. I don't like fragrances, I mean, look, I like them on men, but I don't like them in fragrances that I am interested in wearing them, let's say, you know. So if you are scared, no, you don't have any shower gel facets in this fragrance, you just have more of the aromatic facets of the lavender, let's say. So yeah, it does have sweetness, like I've mentioned. It does have a slight vanillic-like sweetness mixed with that like specific resinous balsamic-like sweetness. You know, this is a resinous balsamic fragrance basically. I think it's very beautiful. I think it smells definitely much more expensive than the one from Lattafa. Also, it's much softer. Now look. Since I started to compare them, I will just continue with the comparison. So basically, I feel like the one from Lattafa, in the opening, it does have a slight sharpness to it in a sense. And also, as it starts to develop on the skin, I have here the one from Lattafa and I have here the one from Paris Corner. Now, as this one from Lattafa starts to develop on the skin, the lavender, which is not listed, but at least I don't remember it being listed, but I do detect it. Basically, the lavender here to my nose adds a slight shower gel feel to the fragrance. And again, I think it's a beautiful undertone, but it's an undertone that I would prefer to smell on men, you know, not on me. This is why I say this one, I could wear it. I could definitely wear it, but I would feel the need to layer it with some few other fragrances. First of all, to tone down that shower gel facet. Second of all, to make it a bit more sweet. Now, whereas with this one, on the other hand, this one I could totally wear it. Like, yeah. Also, it's much sweeter, I feel like. Eternal Oud, basically Eternal Oud is sweeter in the beginning. The same, not gourmand sweetness, but the same balsamic resinous type of sweetness, but it's sweeter in the beginning. As this one starts to develop on the skin, loses the sweetness a little bit, goes more into the resinous balsamic category, and you start to get that like shower gel facet that I was telling you about. Whereas with this one from Paris Corner, let's just say this one is not the sweetest in the beginning. I feel like in the beginning you get, of course, the resinous accord here, but you get more of that like aromatic facets of the lavender. But as this one starts to develop on your skin, you lose somewhere, I don't know, like 10 minutes in, I feel like you start, like basically that lavender facet moves into the background more and more until you lose it completely, at least to my nose, and you get more of the amber accord. But the amber accord here, as it stays on your skin, it gets sweeter and sweeter with that like slight powdery facets that I was telling you about. So yes, now to me this one is, both are unisex fragrances basically, but this one I could wear it much more easier than I could pull off this fragrance. This one, look, this is the fragrance to choose if you want something that's loud, if you want a beast mode fragrance, if you want a fragrance that no matter where you go, no matter what you do, everyone around you will smell it on you, then this is the fragrance I would recommend you. But if you want a fragrance that smells a bit more refined, let's say, a bit more elegant, a bit more sophisticated, a bit more classy, a bit more, it has something that makes me think of a more like quality-wise, like a bit of it makes me think of a more refined fragrance, because like I've mentioned, it doesn't have that shower gel facet. Now when I think of shower gel like facets in fragrances, I don't know, they don't make me think of a fragrance that smells quite luxurious in a sense, you know. I mean, I associate that smell with like shower gel, so you know, like, yeah. My favorite part of this one is, look, I love the opening, but my favorite part is from the heart till the dry down, because that is the moment when this fragrance gets even more rich, even more sweet. It's definitely sweeter than Eternal Oud from Lattafa. Even more, like, how to say, more like my style, you know, like I could easily wear this fragrance without feeling like a man. I could easily wear this fragrance without feeling the need to mix it with anything else. It does have the sweetness, it has the richness, but something to keep in mind, to appreciate any one of these two fragrances, you need to be familiar with fragrances made around resinous balsamic accords. So I had to take a short break, but I'm back. What I was talking about is that unless you are familiar with ambery accords in fragrances, or with fragrances with resinous facets, with different balsamic facets, if you don't like the smell of, let's just say, of the smell of myrrh, the smell of frankincense, the smell of benzoin, the smell of olibanum, then I think you will struggle a bit with these fragrances, or you might think that these are very old fragrances in a sense, or let's just call them like mature fragrances. Now, personally, I don't think these are mature fragrances. I mean, if anything, this one, I feel like if you're a man, now I don't know if I would picture it on a teenager, for instance, unless you have the taste. Unless you have the taste, you guys. The thing is, you need to have the taste for this kind of fragrances, for both of these, because otherwise I don't think you will enjoy them. I don't think these are the kind of fragrances that are made to be, like, originally, I'm talking about the Grand Soir now, I don't think it was the kind of fragrance that was meant to be like an easy sell, you know, like something that every Tom, Dick and Harry has, honestly. I think it was meant to be something a bit more special, a bit more creative, a bit more unique for those who appreciate these types of notes. So, of course, these ones, because they are inspired by that fragrance from Maison Francis Kurkdjian, I feel the same when it comes to these two fragrances. So yeah. If you're a lover of bold fragrances, if you love rich fragrances, if you love warm fragrances, if you love overall fragrances that have this very like rich dense solar quality to them. I think you will enjoy these two. Which one is more feminine leaning? This one, for sure. Not feminine leaning in the sense that men couldn't pull it off. No, I think men could easily pull off this fragrance. But I'm talking about like comparing these two. I personally could pull off this fragrance much easier without, like I've mentioned, the need to mix it with something else or the need to change anything about it. Also, this gets sweeter and sweeter as it develops on the skin. You start to get slight, smooth, round, moderate sweet vanilla facets in the background. The amber accord gets even warmer, even denser, with some slight powdery facets in the background. So yeah, whereas with this one is a tad more dry compared to the one from Paris Corner. This one is a bit more, not rough, I don't want to call it rough, but it's a bit more brute, abrasive, I don't know the word in English, yeah. Okay, so when it comes to the performance, honestly, from what I have tested so far, I think the performance for this fragrance is decent. Nothing out of this world, not a beast mode kind of fragrance, but this is, because it's not a beast mode fragrance, because it's not the kind of fragrance that you do 2 sprays and like the whole street can smell you, it does have this classy elegance feel to it, you know. This is the kind of fragrance that on a man I would picture it on, like with a suit. I think I put fragrance on my nose, yeah. Like I've mentioned, on the man I would picture this fragrance with more elegant outfits. I personally, nothing sporty. There's nothing sporty about this fragrance. It's not the kind of fragrance that you can wear, I mean, look, you do whatever you want. I'm just telling you what I feel when I'm smelling this fragrance. To me, this fragrance needs the proper outfit, needs the proper occasion, needs the proper mood in a sense. Yeah, I was talking about the performance. Like I've mentioned, to me, the performance for this fragrance is decent. It's not the kind of fragrance that fades after 2 hours, but it's neither the kind of fragrance that the next day you can smell it on your skin, or at least not on my skin. I feel like on my skin for 4 hours I could easily smell it, sometimes close to 5 hours. On clothes I haven't tried it yet. I haven't done like a full wear test outside. I have just tried it in my house, you know, like in my home here and there. But I feel like for the price you pay, the performance is more than decent. But it is the kind of fragrance that I would feel the need to reapply, let's just say every 5 to 6 hours. Now, something really interesting about this fragrance, or not interesting, something that I really appreciate about this fragrance is the fact that this is perfect to use to deepen other fragrances, because of the sweetness and because of that like neutral resinous facets. This works amazingly layered with other fragrances. You can take this fragrance and make it stretch in so many different directions depending on what you mix it with. Let's just say if you have a fragrance that's woody and spicy, you would like to add some richness to it. Maybe it's too dry, the woody accord there is too dry for your nose. You could use something like this as a man to add some sweetness, to add some richness, to add some overall roundness and smoothness and sweetness to the fragrance. If you're a woman, again, you have a fragrance, let's just say you have a vanilla forward fragrance, but you want to make it a bit more, you know, like a bit more statement, like you want to make it something else. Again, a fragrance like this could come could come in handy in those moments to layer it. Like I always say, please test the fragrances, don't just blind buy them. Now, if you are based in Europe, you can get decants from Dupe collection. By the way, they have a European website now, so feel free to check out that website if you are based in Europe. I will leave the website down below. Same code that applied for the Romanian website, that was international even then, will apply now to the European website, to the English website basically. Okay, so this is pretty much everything I wanted to say. I think I have touched upon every topic that I wanted to discuss. Now, is it redundant to have both? Look, I think it is. Honestly, I think it is. Again, unless you are really passionate and you're a real lover of these kind of fragrances, it is redundant to have both. They are not one-on-one fragrances. It's not like Lattafa and Paris Corner used the same juice bottled into different fragrances. No, they clearly, at least to my nose, they clearly have their differences, but their differences are not noticeable enough so that it's worth having both, unless that's what you want, of course, and unless you truly enjoy this kind of fragrances. But look, I feel like this type of DNA, it's not the DNA that will be an easy reach for the majority of people. I think it will be a DNA that requires certain occasions, you know, with certain outfits, with certain moods. For some people it might require certain seasons, because like generally speaking, I feel like both of these fragrances are fragrances that you were to use in colder months, you know, like autumn, winter. Personally, I would use this one in warm weather as well, like on a summer night layered with something else. I think it will work amazing. So yes, as always, don't forget to let me know what you think about these two fragrances, if you have tried them. If you want to say anything else, please put it down in the comment section, and I promise that I will get back to you. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I always appreciate your support. Your comments put the biggest smile on my face, so thank you so much for your kind words. I'm sending all the good energy that you're sending it to me. I'm sending it back to you. So yes, I will see you in my next video, but until then, don't forget to follow me on Instagram. Here is my handle. But yeah, I will see you in my next video, but until then, thank you so much for watching, and I want to wish you an amazing day wherever you are. Bye.